Hey, this is Steve in Dallas, Texas. It's Saturday morning, my friend, and you are listening to Light Talk.
And this is Ellen ringing in the new year from the tropical island of St. Bart's, and you are listening to Light Talk.
Coming to you direct from New York City, this is Dennis, welcoming you to start 2026 in style with the internationally renowned podcast, Light Talk.
And this is David, coming to you from the beautiful Belmont Shore neighborhood of Long Beach, still recovering from last night's celebration of the New Year's. And if you don't already know, you are listening to Light Talk, and we are the Lumen Brothers.
And sister.
That's right, Ellen. Welcome, everyone, to episode 457. As you can tell from my voice, I am tired. I'm so tired. And poor Ellen was tired last week from LDI.
Right.
As we explained on the show. So you recovered. And I think the four of us are recovering from last night's New Year's Eve celebration.
Well, what did you do to celebrate in the beautiful Belmont Shores?
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't in the beautiful Belmont Shores. I was actually playing a gig, a New Year's Eve party in Orange County at some godforsaken country club.
Were the village people there?
Village people were not there. They left town. They were kind of run out of town.
Did you play YMCA in their honor?
No, I don't. I'm not a big fan. I mean, it's fun music, but it's not something I would waste my time playing.
No, but one time we hired a DJ for a party, and he was playing like soft Caribbean music, and people were like not moving. And I thought, we got to get this party started. So he played YMCA, and 400 people were on their feet in 32 seconds. Then it didn't matter what he played.
Exactly. It's a great dance song. And it's, it's a fun song. It's a happy song. It's like Celebrate, songs like that.
Right, exactly.
It's just like there's certain songs that people hear and they just, no matter how old they are too, young people, old people, it doesn't matter. You play YMCA, they're up on their feet dancing. So,
right.
They weren't dancing all night. We played a lot of dance music. But that being said, this old rock and roller, he's not used to playing gigs until 1 o'clock in the morning. Normally our gigs go from 6, and I'm serious. In Orange County, the gigs go from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Sometimes 9:30.
Are you at old age homes?
Oh, snap.
These are clubs. I mean,
they certainly aren't Las Vegas clubs.
They're not Vegas clubs. They're not LA
Vegas
clubs.
don't open till 10:30.
That's right. Back in Fort Lauderdale, we used to play till 4 o'clock in the morning. So this is a totally different scene. So I guess Republicans do like to go to bed early. So maybe that's what it is.
I think you hit a nerve there, Ellen. I think he's breaking some 90-year-old hearts at the assisted living
right.
home. Your problem, David, is you just can't. The way I handle New Year's is I celebrate New Year's Eve between 7:15 and 7:30. I'm never tired. I am never tired.
Well, it was funny because last night we had our sets worked out so that at 9 o'clock we played New York, New York. Right? Because that was the time, 9 o'clock Pacific time.
The ball was falling.
The ball was going.
Yep.
Okay. Then at 10 o'clock, we played Chicago, right?
Oh, very clever.
And at 11 o'clock, guess what we played?
John Denver.
Yes, John Denver, Rocky Mountain High. And then at midnight, after Auld Lang Syne, we played California Dreamin'.
Oh,
so it was kind of fun, I mean, we hadn't played these songs before, although we totally butchered New York, New York.
You know what we did? They had a huge concert downtown on the dock here. They were expecting about 3,500 people, which I'm sure they got, but you could not drive through town. You had to take a little shuttle bus, and they were broadcasting it live. So we put on our pajamas, got in bed with 2 laptops, turned down the sound on one, cranked up the sound on the other, watched what was going on 3 miles away on the dock.
That's the ultimate old person view of New Year's Eve. Okay, when you're actually watching it on TV 3 blocks away.
Right.
Now the question is, did you have a pair of socks on also?
No, it wasn't cold enough for socks.
You didn't have those LDI socks on?
No.
Okay. I must say something. Last week I disparaged the LDI socks online, and I must tell you, because I hadn't worn them yet, and I wore them.
Cotton and they're
they
cozy.
are so cozy.
They are
and Ellen,
very
thank you
cozy.
very much. I take everything
Why did you
I said.
disparage them?
I don't know. I was trying to be funny, but it wasn't funny at all. We were talking about swag. I don't know if you listened to the show now, but we were talking a lot about swag and stuff like that.
Okay.
And
you said LDI was cheap and only gave out socks.
I did not say cheap.
Okay.
Because someone stole my Yeti that was given to everybody in Light Talk from the table, and Brackley sort of fessed up to it. He said, "Well, that's why I have two in my bag." So I got really pissed off.
I gave you my big one.
A big one.
The big one is the one that he's missing.
No, the big one. Yeah, the big one.
I gave you mine.
Oh, did you? No, we
Yes.
didn't get it. Did we?
Yeah,
Did Lori get it from you? Maybe you handed it to
I
Lori.
handed it to you right at the thing. I said, now you guys can have two.
There they are. There they are. For our listeners at home, I'm holding up my two Yetis here.
Okay, thank you very much,
The
Ellen.
nicest swag I got, and I think it was from Patrick Murphy of Ilda, and if it's not, someone please correct me. It's a sort of a flashlight in the center with a large blue plastic thing around it, and it's like the Swiss Army knife of flashlights, and it has about 10 things, like screwdrivers of different sizes,
Awesome.
and a short blade and a little pair of scissors that all flip out that you can use, and then you also use the flashlight. It's a great little piece of swag.
You need to add that into the thing next year. You know, we were talking about best booth design and best light
best
show.
swag.
No, we have
swag.
best. What are you talking about? We gave best swag last week. Last
No,
week
We
did-
don't.
No,
but
no,
we
no,
don't.
LDI.
you guys. Okay, yeah,
Right.
LDI. I don't know. Then it's like saying you guys are too cheap, right?
He doesn't mean our swag. He means among the exhibitors' swag.
Yeah, no, we talked about exhibitor swag. We all agree that ETC had the best swag this year. That was
And
unanimous.
cookies.
Well, it was
And
very
cookies.
clever the way they did all that, including the Fred Foster Birkenstock pin. That was just adorable.
Awesome. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really clever. And it was really brilliant the way they set that all up in that room.
Yeah.
I was at Dick's Sporting Goods yesterday with my son getting some things for him, and they were selling those Yetis. They're $20 a piece, those little white Yetis.
Yeah, they're
And
very
the bigger
expensive.
ones must be more.
Oh, the bigger ones are like almost $50. They
I
are
would think
huge.
so,
They're very
yeah.
expensive. But you know something? I still have my coffee from last night in my Yeti that I loaded up at 4 p.m., right? It's in my Yeti and it's still warm. Okay. And right
Wow.
now it's 11:15 a.m. the next morning.
Wow.
So, on New Year's Day. So yeah, it was crazy. Anyway, let's talk about New Year's. Okay. Let's get back to-
Well, I have a question for Dennis. When you say that you lit Rockin' New Year's Eve with Dick Clark, did you light the live section in New York City?
Correct.
And then Lee Rose lit the
Lee did Los Angeles.
pre-recorded Los Angeles parts.
Yeah, none of that stuff is live.
No,
the
I
only thing that was
understand.
live last night was New York City and I believe Chicago. Puerto Rico might have been, I'm not sure.
I have a funny story about that because many years ago, we decided to do concert lighting master classes as an addition to the Broadway lighting master classes. And we decided to do them in Los Angeles. And we picked a place that was some sort of a huge studio. It was empty. They hadn't had anything in it for like 6 months. And they said, well, if we don't get anything within the next 30 days, you can definitely have it. We're past our booking deadline. There's absolutely no problem. You won't have to move, whatever. You can have the space. So we were figuring out how to design it and make it look a little concerty and whatever. And I get a call from Lee Rose, who says, I have really bad news for you. I'm like, what? He says, well, the studio where we were supposed to record Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, some problem with it, and we've been moved to this other studio. And they said that we have to get permission from you to boot you. I said, you can't boot me. This was like 15 days before the event. We'd sold all of our tickets. We had all of our catering lined up. Everything was ready to go. So we made an arrangement with him where he would leave the set in place 3 days extra because our thing was like a Saturday, Sunday. So instead of killing it on the Friday and having PRG pick it all up, they left it till Monday. PRG picked it up on Monday instead of Friday, and we used it. So people walked in and they're like, wow, this is amazing. You built all this for us? And we're like, well, actually, no, it's for Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve. And they go, oh, are they going to record it here on New Year's Eve? And we're like, yeah.
That's wild. Wow.
It had
That's a
already
funny
been done,
story.
but a lot of people never read the small print, and they're surprised that it's pre-recorded.
Yeah, it really is. Lee did that. I think I did Dick Clark's show in New York for about 30 years exactly.
And Lee probably did all 30 of those in L.A.
I think he did 32 of them, actually.
Right.
It's because people used to say to me, how many years are you going to keep doing this thing? And it was a lot of fun. And, the first week of the year when you get a gargantuan paycheck, which is what that week was like, you just keep doing it for good luck.
But you've
But
stopped
I used
doing
to
it.
say, I'll do it as long as Dick Clark does it. And on my 30th year, Dick died, and that was it.
Yeah, the only person around here who gets a gargantuan paycheck on the first week of January are the property tax people in California.
That's funny.
The interesting thing is I passed the show on to one of our other senior LDs, Mike Grabowski, and he's been doing it for the last 12
Did he
or
do
13
it this year,
years.
too?
Yeah.
I grew up with Dick Clark because American Bandstand was in Philadelphia. But
Oh, wow.
the kind of people who went on it were not from the kind of school I went to, so we never got to go.
It's interesting because, I worked New Year's Eve my whole life. Even when I was a kid, my father owned a bar. I used to pass out hats and horns and things like that. But it was always a real special treat because I was right next to Dick for the whole show.
Wow.
And he was the first person to wish me Happy New Year's,
Oh,
and we
that's
shook hands
nice.
together.
Well, he was quite a personality in Philadelphia,
He
that's
was.
for sure.
He really was.
Yeah.
Really
But
amazing.
now Lighting Design Group is still doing it after 45 years, I guess.
And
We're
why
still
did
doing
you
the New
stop?
York scenes. I stopped because I just got tired of it. I just
Yeah.
passed it on to Mike Grabowski in our company, and they do it. It's changed a lot this year because Glenn Weiss now directs it. He's directing it for the last
he's
maybe
the Tony
10
director. Tony's.
Right. And the Oscars.
Yeah.
And I think he does the Grammys, too. I'm
Maybe.
not sure. But he's been doing it for the last 10 or 15 years since when Ryan joined Dick. And then when Dick died, Ryan took it over, and it's now his production company as well. And ABC's kind of backed out of it a bit. So they do things very differently. And they used to use a studio right in Times Square that was the Times Square studios that shut down when Disney opened the new facility this year. So if you notice, everything was outside.
And it was cold.
We had to light the top of the NASDAQ building, the Bertelsmann building, the stages where the performance takes place.
Wow.
And it's a busy couple of days for the lighting team.
I have a question, Dennis. Do you own a yacht? Because
Oh, look, he's not denying it.
he's not denying it. Because we have interviewed several broadcast lighting designers, and they all seem to have yachts. And as a matter of fact, one of them, who's going to remain nameless, got upset when I called it a yacht. Because he said, actually, technically, this is a ship. And I said,
Oh.
it's me.
Well, most of them, not most, but many of them, lighting designers, have planes these days.
Yeah, there you go. Planes.
I can emphatically and honestly say I do not own a yacht, but the owner of LDG does indeed.
That's right. And kids, if you listen to this podcast, get out of theater, get out of opera, God knows, get out of dance,
And get into broadcast.
the broadcast lighting, because
Right.
that's where the money is, man. I tell
Go
you.
be an apprentice
Good
to
for
Dennis.
you, Dennis. Congratulations.
So tell your owner that St. Bart's, where I live, is the place to be with yachts on New Year's Eve. There were 340 some boats checked in here last night.
Now, boats,
think-
Wow.
ships, not boats.
100. Well, only 130 of them were over 100 feet
Okay, there you go.
or
Only
200 feet or whatever. Some of them are huge.
Yeah,
They
I
look
think
like cruise ships. I mean,
it's
The world has changed a lot. I have a horror story. It's an airplane story.
Happy New Year's, everybody. We're gonna get an airplane crash.
we're going to
story.
crash.
No. It was last Christmas, and my daughter is getting her PhD at SMU, and it was getting late in the last day of classes before break, and she turned to the instructor and said, my dad's picking me up at 6:00 this evening, so I can't be late. And the instructor looked at her and said, "Oh, is he just flying in?" The implication is that I surely must have a private plane because
Because you're a professor?
Well, no, but if you're at SMU, of course your dad's picking you up.
Right,
It's an
right,
airplane.
right.
Flying in to
Tuition.
get you to take you
Got it.
home.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
That's probably true. All right, so let's get on the show. We're going to run out of time. We're already halfway through the show. We haven't talked about anything lighting this year, and we should
Yes,
talk
we
about
did.
it.
We talked about Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, we
That might
talked
be a
about
good
Ryan
thing.
Seacrest. Yeah. Okay.
Well, speaking of lighting, something I saw this week that really shocked the hell out of me. I took the kids to see Zootopia 2 in the movie theater,
Mm-hmm.
and the movie was projected with a laser light projector.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've seen a movie with a laser light projector. I don't know if you guys
And
have
what do you
seen it
think?
or were even aware of it, but it was very different.
Well, they
not
use the
only in
laser
terms-
projectors in the theater. I mean, Zach uses laser projectors all the time, to project
for the
images.
graphics and
Yeah,
everything.
to project all that.
I hadn't seen a movie yet with laser light.
Look,
And,
it still looks like shit compared to your good, nice home.
It really did not look that good.
No.
And the movie theater was like promoting it like it was the be all and the end all.
They're desperate.
You mean you still miss 70 millimeter film?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, it's digital.
Yeah, no, I understand, but those of us who grew up with 35 millimeter or 70 millimeter, like when you saw, Peter O'Toole in whatever that was called, and in 70
Lawrence of
millimeter,
Arabia.
yeah, it was amazing, just amazing images.
Those years are done. And matter of fact, I just found out that many of these theaters, if not most of the theaters, actually don't have the films there. They're actually streamed from a central
They're
location.
streamed in,
Right,
yeah.
They're streamed
exactly.
in. So it's just going into the projector and going, boop, and onto
Right.
stream. But, look, we went to see the Rolling Stones thing in IMAX, all right? They have this thing going out now. There's an old, Steel Wheels tour, which, by the way, was a brilliant design. I don't know who designed it. I'm sure it was somebody
Mark
very famous.
Fisher, Stu Fish, London.
Thank you. You're right. Mark Fisher. And it is incredible. It actually was a trend-setting tour because the set was gigantic. And I've never seen Mick Jagger run so much in my life.
Right.
From one side up and down stairs and all this stuff. I said, man, that guy's in good shape.
Well,
And he
that was like in the late 80s, so Mick was still young.
Yeah, he was still young, but it was originally filmed for IMAX.
Right.
So it was really great. If you haven't seen it, go see it. But, still, you're looking at this, and I know they've done some restorative work on it, but it still didn't look as good because you don't get the blacks. You still don't get them because movie theaters aren't set up that way. And until they get to a point where they get full OLED, light emitting screens, which I haven't seen yet in a large auditorium, I don't think you're going to get that. But the problem also is that people aren't going to the theaters anymore. They just aren't. I mean, people are spending their time at home. It's cheaper. It's less expensive. I mean, these tickets cost us $25 a piece, So it's like crazy. Now, if you're going to see Stop Making Sense, which Lori and I saw 2 years ago, it was a limited release around the country, and it was all restored. And because that was done in 16 millimeter or something like that. Actually, I think it was 32 millimeter. And that was brilliant because it was totally digitally restored, AI, and the sound was amazing. And people were dancing in the theater. That's more of an event, and that's kind of really cool. But no one, believe me, there were, and this IMAX theater that held 70 seats, 80 seats, there were 14 people there, and it was the only showing. So people are not going, and nobody was dancing. Most of them were just sitting around eating popcorn.
Well, if everybody's paying for streaming services, they're going to stream at home, and they have a big screen, and they can get popcorn, they can stop and go to the restroom,
There's just something special about sitting in a movie theater, though. I mean, I was a movie kid. I grew up in the movie theaters every day, or not every day, but every week I'd go to a movie. And I still love going to the theater to see a movie.
Right.
Well, those days are numbered, I'm afraid to tell you, my friend.
Well, the discussion a couple of days ago was that as we move forward, the studios are maybe going to in a good year they might release 12 films, but what they're really thinking about is streaming the bulk and releasing maybe 7 films a year.
Well, that's, because I think Netflix has really turned the tables upside down, and Netflix never puts those movies in the theater, and they're doing great. People are binge watching Emily in Paris. They're binge watching Inventing Anna, whatever it was called. They're binge watching Bridgerton, and they make little movies out of it. You spend 5 hours or 6 hours just glued to your screen when these things pop. And then they've got all these documentaries they're making. There's one coming out on Mick Jagger, speaking of music stuff. And I think that they've really put the theaters in the crosshairs.
Absolutely.
Well, the theaters are shutting down. I mean, in the town I live in, when we moved here 10 years ago, there were 3 movie theaters in the town or in the suburb that we would attend. None of them are open for business anymore. They all went under. I have to drive literally 15 miles to a movie theater.
Wow.
I've got a brilliant segue as far as movies and digital and stuff like that is great video, movies or limited series or series that we have seen either in the theater this year or on television.
Is that a question? Well, adolescence.
No, adolescence, absolutely. Adolescence was groundbreaking, and in so many ways, don't you think, Ellen?
Absolutely. The lighting was extraordinary. The one-shot whole episodes was really groundbreaking, and it was a good story, well-directed, wonderful acting, and just gripping emotionally. I mean, I've warned people before they watch it to get ready for some really hard stuff, and people loved it. I think it was very well received critically and by the audience. And I do think that the lighting and the cinematography in there was terrific.
Similarly, we talked about the studio, which does similar things, except not as gut-wrenching in terms of its content.
In a humorous way.
In a humorous way, yeah. But the concept of the in one shot and everything on video, and Seth Rogen broke a lot of barriers with that particular series. And you're right. The television scope is changing, and you couldn't get that in a movie theater, I don't think. And they have the option of binge watching.
Right. But,
What could be
like
better?
Dennis, when you started lighting television, the cameras were the size of Volkswagens, right? I mean, the
Yes, they
cameras
were.
were massive. Now you
And
could,
so were the lights.
right. And now you could,
Shoot on your
well,
iPhone.
yes,
nowadays.
now you can shoot the movie on your iPhone, edit it on your iPhone, and release it on your iPhone. And if Netflix likes it, they might pick it up. I mean,
You never
so
know.
the world has changed a lot in the last 40 years.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about another series, that one that Lori and I just finished, and that is Puribus. And that is, again, stunning art direction, a great story, beautiful lighting, where sometimes they're just using natural lighting in it. But a lot of times it's enhanced because, it's either done on location or it's done on a set. And a lot of it is green screen and brilliantly green screen. I mean, I'm listening to the podcast of Puribus. It's actually sponsored by Apple TV, and they have Vince Gilligan is on it. The art director on it, the cinematographer's on it, the actors are on it. It's an incredible podcast. They talk about how they do everything and how they did everything. Up until like the choreographers talk about how he trained all the extras to move in a certain way. It is just so interesting to theater people in the theater who, because these all people come from the theater, they come from film and theater background. So you hear in these things that you say, wow, we did this here. This is how we did that. And, gives you ideas about how to organize a rehearsal. Going back to adolescence, when you hear the whole process of rehearsing, not only the actors and the extras and the crew, but the cameras, all that had to be rehearsed because they would go through multiple floors. People would be walking in and out of doors.
They use drones.
They use drones. Yeah. And they had to transfer the camera from the inside of the car onto a drone and then flew across the town.
Right.
It was just stunningly amazing. So, there's a different way of doing things. Technology is allowing us to be more creative. And I think 2025 was kind of a watershed moment. I would include 24 too, because I believe in 24, that was when Severance started. Because we started watching Severance this year, and that is another great Apple TV production, and beautiful cinematography, incredible acting, very interesting art direction. Again, these are things that you watch and you just say, wow, I wish I would have thought of that. You know what I mean? It's really clever.
In that same vein, take a look at the Tonys. They used to try to recreate the musical dance numbers for the musicals or the songs or whatever, and try to recreate the lighting. They don't really do that so much anymore. If I understand correctly, they go into the theater, they video the number, and then they create as much of it as they can digitally. So most of the lights that you see, as Dennis has pointed out on other productions, are in the digital background. They're not actually lights. So that's like a big technology change also for these award shows.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a second? Because Dennis sent us, I was not unable to watch the, what was it, the Dick Clark thing last night that you were watching?
Yeah,
Dennis?
Rockin' New Year's Eve.
Yeah, the lights are in the graphic images.
Yeah. And
In the Vegas stage.
Yeah.
yeah. And, it's like, they did that in the Emmys. I'm sorry, the Grammys last year.
Yeah, I missed the Grammys.
Yeah,
I didn't see
actually,
that.
it's very well lit, and I liked it. But you could tell, people from the theater, technical theater, and you could tell when something's projected and something's real.
Well, go back to the Tonys and look at like the Hamilton mashup that they did, which was an original number because it doesn't exist in the show, and a lot of that lighting is digitally produced in the LED screens. I think it's fascinating.
I had done a news studio for CBS News, and they did a video volume that's really exceptional by the company Sweetwater. And in the video volume, as you pointed out, they'll put lights so that it creates a certain reality. And in the graphics for the CBS Evening News, there's these hi-hats and architectural fixtures, all sorts of things to make it look real. The graphic designer, when we were getting it all cued and lit, said, Dennis, how much control do you want over the practicals and the graphics? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, every one of those lights that are architectural fixtures that are in the graphics, we can give you the control over so that you can literally change the intensities and the colors and make adjustments to the lighting fixtures in the graphic virtual world on the lighting console in the real world.
By controlling the pixels.
Correct.
I love it. I love it.
We use light from projections all the time to light actors. And if you have to consider it because it's coming from the back or from the sides.
Sure.
But also you do it intentionally. Many times I've worked with projection designers where I say, let's just have a door, like a door of light coming from stage left. And that's all we'll use for the scene. And he said, sure, I could do that, no problem. And you don't need a light there. Matter of fact, it would have been impossible to put a light there because there was a big LED wall there, right? So I couldn't put a light there. So I said, let's just light it from the projections. And absolutely. And it looks more realistic. It's really interesting. It's much more clean, much cleaner.
Here's the problem. It's why I sent you those photos from the show last night. That was driving me crazy. I don't know how they had maybe 24 fixtures there built into the video wall, and they were doing the gags. They were doing projected beams and gobos and breakups and textures and all that. And when you'd have a close up behind like Goo Goo Dolls or whoever was performing, so you'd see all these lights that are built into the graphic, and you'd see the light emanating from the fixture. But they were just positioned in midair. Look at the pictures I sent. There's no mounting hardware.
2D.
There's no cable.
They don't look real.
Right. They look flat.
They don't look real at all. On the wide shots, it's pretty spectacular.
Right.
But once you see that close-up behind an artist that's performing, I was like, oh, man, this is driving me crazy.
But do you think the audience notices?
No, the audience does. They have no clue. Most of the audience.
No, they don't.
They think there are real lights back there. But there are giveaways, dead giveaways. Even when it's done well, I can tell when something is either real or fake. And it depends on if the camera's moving and the perspective on the
perspective is off, right?
Moving. Then it's like, but if you look closely at those images that we sent, Dennis, you'll see the flares coming up the lenses are all mirrored. Each lens has the same flare.
Oh, the same. Yes, you're right. You're right. I didn't notice that.
Look, that's really nitpicking. No one notices that. Hey, have you guys seen Navy Happy Ending?
No.
It is absolutely unbelievable. I'm not going to tell you how I saw it, but I saw it. Okay. And it is some of the most stunning work in lighting and projections that I have seen. Definitely on Broadway. Ben Stanton is lighting designer. We should get Ben on the show.
Right.
The projection design is George Reeve. We need to get these people on the show because it is so brilliant and deserves every Tony Award that won this year. But it is some of the most amazing lighting I've ever seen.
What did you like about it?
Well, it sort of reminded me of a circ production called Iris that played in L.A. for about, I don't know, a few months. I don't know, about 10 years ago. And it plays a lot, it uses a lot of moving apertures. Of course, Iris being a show about the movies, did a lot of thing about apertures, and it's kind of cool. But the opening of the show is, I don't want to give it away because it's kind of a very stunning effect, but using projections, mostly video and live performance, it really mixes it in. And it really makes sense for the whole meaning of the show if you know what the show's about. So I would highly recommend seeing that show if you can in New York, and when it goes to Chicago and probably LA. Really, really stunning. And it's a great show. It's just really very interesting and fun.
Cool.
And I wanted to point that out because that, I guess, technically is a 2025 show. Maybe not. It's 2024, whatever. It actually, for the story I heard, it started in Korea. It was actually a show that was in one of the Asian countries.
Yes, I believe Korea.
And producers went over there and they said, "Oh, let's go ahead and do it in English." And it's, can I tell you, it's a hit. That's where I think theater's going. And that's probably what the bottom line here, what I'm trying to say, is that this mixture of high tech, projections, the unity of bringing them in with live entertainment done well. And in this case, I think it's done very well, and it will only get better, I'm sure. It's very exciting.
There's been a lot of video integrated into Broadway these days, more than ever before.
But you know what? Going back to what you were saying, and even the shows that you pointed out, whether it's Adolescence or Severance or live theater with happy ending, let's face it, there's an incredible amount of work and stuff being put on Netflix and Amazon that have very talented people and all look very, very good. Even Steve's close personal friend Taylor Sheridan is cranking out crap and product. How many shows does he have on? 8 or 9? But they're not all spectacular, even though they look good. Shows that you're talking about that will draw an audience in and are worth watching not only look good and have talented cinematographers and costume designers and writers, they've got great content. And the bottom line is, it's all about the content that's being presented to, and let's face it, if you have good content, then you might as well make sure there's something beautiful to look at. But there's not many things on television that look terrible anymore. They're really paying a lot of attention to the visuals.
Right.
Tulsa King, the Sly Stallone thing, it's escapist drivel, but it still looks very good.
It's always been about content.
Yeah.
Now, when we're talking about a show like Pluribus, written by Vince Gilligan, now he has an incredible track record of shows with great content. I mean, Breaking Bad alone and Better Call Saul.
Incredible series.
These are
Incredible.
milestone shows that lasted 8, 9, 10 years. But he has a great mind. He has a great creative mind. He writes everything. He directs a lot of it. It's just, there's a reason why he does this sort of thing and why all of this stuff is successful.
Right.
And he gets the best people. He tries to use the same crew from Albuquerque on every series. He films all his series in Albuquerque. And they asked him why in the podcast. He said, "I know everybody there. I like the crews, and it gives me a variety of things to do, about places. I kind of like Albuquerque." So that's where he films the shows.
The show I was talking about was The Picture of Dorian Gray with another actress called Sarah Snook. She apparently played a lot of different roles, and half of it was video and half of it wasn't. And there was no understudy because they couldn't reshoot the whole entire thing anytime anybody was out. So if she was out, it was closed. And that was apparently very groundbreaking as well in terms of use of video and lighting on Broadway.
You are listening to Light Talk with the Lumen Brothers and Sister. And Light Talk is sponsored by...
Well, Dennis, today we have a Tales from Texas. Why lighting designers wear a cowboy hat. Recent observational studies conducted backstage in dimly lit theaters suggest a cowboy hat is not a fashion choice, but rather a biological adaptation of the entertainment lighting designer. better known as Lux texicus feral. Hypothesis number 1, the brim field theory. The cowboy hat generates a localized brim-based shadow zone, known as the LBSZ. Within the LBSZ, lighting designers can safely squint, judge color temperature, and mutter, "That's not right." Hypothesis number 2, photon herding mechanics. Photons, like cattle, are naturally chaotic and must be controlled. The hat increases perceived authority over light. Moving lights respond faster to commands when the designer's silhouette includes a hat. This phenomena is known as the OYER effect, the optical yeehaw resonance. It is a documented fact that Verilight fixtures hit focus more accurately when the hat is tilted at a knowing angle. Hypothesis 3, memory, storage, and cue retention. The crown of the hat functions as an external RAM module, stores cue numbers, maintains coffee to sleep ratios, remembers why Q69 is cursed. When the hat is removed, the LD immediately forgets. What song is this? What palette is this? What the hell band is this? Hypothesis 4, environmental awareness and head trauma avoidance. The brim acts as an early warning system. If the hat hits truss first, the skull survives. If the hat clears the truss, but the head does not, well, that LD deserved it. Strobe environments trigger an automatic brim lowering reflex protecting the eyes. Designers without hats historically walk directly into pipes. Stare into strobes, just to check, accidentally turn everything magenta, and then defend that decision. Hypothesis 5, social signaling and producer deterrence. A good Stetson functions as a visual reminder. To electricians, it says, "I know what I'm doing." To stage managers, "I will be ready, calm down." To producers, approach slowly and with compliments. To those of the opposite sex, I'm clearly not a bass player. Producers attempting to give notes while the hat is on experience a certain urge to say things like, "Hey, partner, that show was ace high. I had some notes for you, but hell, you don't squat with your spurs on." And finally, let's circle back to the hotel and have a snort. So final thoughts, a cowboy hat is personal, emotional, protective equipment, or as we say in Dallas, PP. A fine-fitting hat is a lighting console accessory and a 10-gallon warning label in hat form. Removing the hat before the focus is considered unsafe and possibly illegal in Texas. That's Tales from Texas, folks, some of which might be true.
And now, back to Light Talk.
Moving on, what do we hope for in this new year in 2026 in the entertainment world, the lighting world, whatever? Go ahead.
I sent you a question the other day. Maybe you're not getting my emails. Somebody on Facebook, I know one of your dreams is the AI controller that you can talk to. And a lighting designer, unfortunately, his post was riddled with bad grammar. But
don't say that. He's listening to the show.
No, but he's got a good question. His
question,
one
of our listeners.
I know. His question is, are AI lighting controllers killing the lighting industry?
I haven't seen one yet. I don't know what he was talking about.
Well, he's talking about Maestro and those things like that we saw at LDI that just program the lights to move to the music.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And he says that approximately 80% of his work has been in bars, clubs, and small events. And that he feels that he's losing his chance to hone his skill and, get his chops down because a lot of these little clubs and bands are using these AI programs and he's not getting hired anymore.
Don't get me started because I'm playing in these clubs now and the lighting usually sucks big time. And they won't hire a lighting programmer. They won't hire even a lighting technician. They buy these cheap lights and they put them on sound, what they call sensitivity, and it moves to the sound, changes color if things get loud, things like that. That's I wouldn't exactly call that AI because this stuff has been out since Heathkit were making light organs in the 1960s. Okay, so this is like, You know what I'm talking about, Dennis. You remember those things?
Yes, I made one.
You made one. We all made Heathkit stuff. I made a combo organ out of Heathkit. But anyway, so no, that's not what we're talking about, people. We're talking about when it comes to AI control.
Yeah, but I
lighting.
think that this is probably a young designer who has a good point.
He does have a good point because we're suffering from it. It drives me crazy. I usually just turn them off. I just turn the lights off or have them just go to white, you know? And it's funny because everybody in the band is saying, why are there lights in my eyes? I said, because you're on stage, Dodo.
Right.
I mean, you know, get used to the lights in your eyes. Now, flashing lights are different, but there you go. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, he says something interesting at the end. He says, why do musicians completely reject AI when talking about music, but they're open to it when it comes to the lighting side of things?
Well, I've been thinking about this, and I have, it came to me last night why David is 100% wrong about this console you can talk to. Imagine, if you will, you're sitting in the theater, and David's talking to his console, and everything's going fine, and the director is sitting beside him, and the director says something like, I wish the lights were brighter. And then everything changes.
No, it's not, because it knows your voice. I mean, even Alaska knows your voice. Alexa knows the difference between Lori and me. When Lori talks, she'll say, hey, Lori. Sometimes she even calls Lori sweetheart or sunshine. I have no idea what that's about.
That's because Alexa is evil. Alexa's listening to you right now. If you said something like, hey, Alexa, what do you think of the podcast? She would go, well, David, it's a little long today, isn't it?
It is long. We're at 11:58. And then we were over almost an hour here. You know what that means? More work for me.
I saw it.
You're right, though. I mean, when my wife talks to Alexa, it's all sweet and natural. Yeah. At the end of the night, my wife will say, good night, Alexa. And Alexa will say, oh, good night, Bendis. You have a pleasant night. I'll say, Alexa, good night. And she'll say, go to bed, you goddamn boomer.
See, I think what happens is when you guys lie down and close your eyes and you're off to dreamland, I think very quietly one phone Alexa's going, hey, Siri, what did you just think of that conversation?
Yes, they do talk to each other.
Well, you know, there's a joke that a man tells his wife a joke. The wife does not laugh. Siri laughs. Alexa laughs.
Well, they're AI. AI thinks you're the most creative person on earth.
Right.
And that's part of the programming. There was a funny thing on South Park where this man and his wife were in bed and he was talking to Siri and she was saying, oh, that's a great idea. I think you should go ahead and gamble all your life savings on this wonderful idea that you have.
No.
You know, because you deserve to live and you deserve to find your dreams. Who cares about tomorrow? Just go ahead and do it. And the wife was nuts reading a book, hearing this, and he turns to her and goes, why can't you be that supportive? I like her. So this is what's going on.
Well, if you can talk to Siri, if Siri can, I mean, you're absolutely right. I drive a 2018 car that has no digital accoutrements whatsoever. You can't even plug in your phone, okay? Much less a screen or anything else. So I was just in my daughter's brand new Honda SUV, whatever she got, and she's plugging in her phone and then having Siri be her personal assistant. Call David.
Oh, absolutely.
Tell him to email me the script for next week. I need episode 456. Call Steve. Please tell him we're going to do it at 2:00. Text Dennis Eyes. What would you like to text to Dennis Eyes? Tell him I loved his work on whatever last night. Dennis says, thank you. I had no idea Siri was your personal assistant while you were driving.
Oh, yes, you can be. They're your personal assistant. Absolutely.
I need a new car. I mean, we drove to New York from Philadelphia. My daughter got 6 hours worth of work done.
Yeah, it's awesome. If you know how to use it, AI is a wonderful thing.
You have
There was a
cars down
show
in
a
St.
million
Bart's?
years ago, and there was a car called Kit. Did the same thing.
Yeah,
Remember the
Yes.
car?
No.
And even before that, the old TV sitcom My Mother the Car that did everything.
I loved My Mother the Car.
but-
Jerry Van Dyke. Remember?
Jerry Van Dyke.
That was the
Wonderful
greatest
show.
I used to watch it as a kid. I loved it. The car would
Speaking
be
of
talking.
Jerry Van Dyke, and I know that you're a real documentary maven, David, you should all watch the Dick Van Dyke documentary on PBS that American Masters did. It was just released. I saw it a couple days ago. It is spectacular in honor of his 100th birthday, but it's a 2-hour documentary, and what a talent.
One night, Dick Van Dyke was on one of the late night talk shows, and he said something about, somebody, like maybe the director of the documentary or somebody was with him saying, this was so amazing. I was just with you and your son actually came over to you and said, Dad, is it okay if I do this, that, or the other thing? And the host says, well, how old is your son? He says, 74. He says, how cute is that? They've got 174 years between them, and the son is still asking Dad if he can do something.
Okay, so finally, New Year's resolutions for this year. And they give Ellen the first shot. What's your big New Year's resolution for the year?
I haven't really thought about that, but there's a very cute dog podcast that's on that I love watching, the Pausecast or whatever it's called with these dogs. And one of them says, your New York resolutions do not have to be positive. You can keep being a pain in the ass.
I mean, that's an attainable resolution,
Well, I
right?
think in terms of lighting and in terms of LDI, I think my personal resolution is to figure out how to make the conference at LDI so relevant that everybody wants to go to it. Everybody wants to go to the show floor. But of the 14,000 people that go to LDI, maybe 1,000 of them go to sessions of some sort.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'd like to double or triple that.
But the sessions are so great. I think Better Swag would do it.
Better socks.
No, the socks are great, Ellen. Please, I spoke out of turn.
We really picked socks that were cotton. A lot
They were
of those
beautiful.
socks out there are cheap polyester microfiber, and I was like, no. If you're getting, and there were beanies too. Did anybody get a beanie?
I got the beanie. You gave me a beanie. Thank you.
Right.
God bless you, Ellen. I love my beanie.
Good.
And Lori got a beanie too, but not she had a different beanie from somewhere else.
Oh, okay, good.
Dennis, New Year's resolution.
I already blew my New Year's resolution.
We're 1 day in. We're not even a full day in. We were like 12 hours in.
My main resolution was to travel less. Last year, I was going through my year. I did 25 studios last year around the country, about a dozen specials, and maybe 50 or 60 shows in those studios. It was just crazy. And I took a month off to have a hip replacement in the middle of April. One of the things that I resolved is I'm going to travel less and spend more time at home. And then my wife said, what's your schedule like in January? I said, well, the first 2 weeks I'm going to be going to Nashville. Then I'll be back. Then I go to San Francisco for the Super Bowl for 2 weeks. Then I come back and go to North Carolina. I'm going to be home for 5 days in January. So I blew that New Year's resolution.
5 days in January now. But listen, someone's got to pay for the yacht payments,
Ship.
But, going to what Ellen said about LDI, and I mentioned this last week, the little luncheon that we had with the Lumen brothers, unfortunately, Ellen couldn't join us, was just a wonderful little gathering. And I've done probably 4 or 5 little gatherings with colleagues and people that I haven't seen in years over the last month. And I think my real resolution is to spend more time with Lumen brothers and sisters and friends and colleagues. You know, it's one thing to work with people. And let's face it, I like to work with people that I'm sure you do as well, that you like and you go out afterwards. But I'm talking about just getting together to shoot the breeze and just bullshit.
Well,
and
come
I don't
on
give
down. We
myself
can have
that
LD
luxury.
Island.
LD Island. LD Island. We got to do the thing. So we've been talking about going to the Faroe Islands for years.
Right.
But now we have an island within our reach.
You do.
St.
Dennis,
Bart's.
what are you doing for the Super Bowl?
I'll be doing all the pre-show, pre-game, and post-game, everything essentially except the
halftime show.
Wow.
Everything
I have
except
about
Bad
13.
Bunny.
We have about 13 stages all around San Francisco and Santa Clara.
Wow.
Got 3 stages on Alcatraz Island. It's like, are you shitting me?
On Alcatraz, you got 3 stages?
Yeah.
You have to take stuff out there on a boat?
They're doing a lot of fun stuff. We also have a boat that's going to be stopping at 7 different places in San Francisco Bay.
How much are they paying you to rent your boat?
And it circles right back to the top of the show. Nice work,
Wouldn't
Steve.
that be funny? They come in and they say, no, here's San Francisco, but we're dropping you off at Alcatraz.
I went one time when Light Fair was in San Francisco. The dinner party was at Alcatraz. They took everybody out there in a boat, and they had couple guys who had been prisoners there sitting in their old cells telling stories. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah, it is. We were there last year, and when I was doing a show out there, and it was. I'd never been to Alcatraz, and I thought that was really cool. Okay, Steve, what's your New Year's resolution?
Well, clearly there's only one, and that is to get to Las Vegas maybe 4 or 5 days before we record, so I can go to some of these sessions for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, you let me know which ones, and you'll be my guest.
Whoa,
thank you.
That's awesome, Ellen. That was very kind of you.
Are you going to toss a beanie in also?
If we have them, I'll be sure to toss one right in your direction.
Bring the beanies back. They're fabulous.
Well, it's cold out there in December. The beanies are good.
The beanies are great. It's cold here in California. And Lori and I are both wearing our beanies.
Okay, the luminoids are tuning up there.
It's 56 degrees, Steve. It got down to 56 last week, remember?
Boy, the wolves will be coming in and out of the mountains.
Really?
I watch them.
I actually had to light a log for my fireplace.
Well, did you see in Florida they're having a falling iguana alert because they get cold and they fall out of the trees?
We were just in Florida. We got back from Florida a day and a half ago, and there were iguanas falling all over the place. It was crazy. We're watching
Did you collect them for next year's swag?
Yes.
You know, Stan is getting older. They could have falling Stan alerts too. He's out there on the sidewalk.
Stan, maybe we should get some little miniature stands. We give away Stan awards. Bobbleheads, Stan bobbleheads. All right. My resolution is to treat my wonderful wife, Lori, as well as possible from now on. And there's a really good reason because, there are two reasons. One is because she's really the most wonderful person in the world. And the second reason is that she easily turns into Snoot. So I just...
She's standing behind you right now.
She's right over there, actually, listening to me. Yeah, it's not good. Thank you very much. That will play well when she hears it. Okay. Well, the rocking sounds of the luminoids tell us that once again you've spent another morning listening to Live Talk, and Happy New Year's, everybody.
Happy New Year's.
There you go. You can hear our show on just about every podcast site out there. Check out our website at livetalk.org, and be sure to follow us on Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. That way you will not miss a second of this insane Light Talk madness.
No guarantee is offered regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on this podcast. However,
if you do decide to litigate, you will have to deal with me, Snoot, from the Snoot Group. And don't get it twisted. Just because I married one of these losers does not mean I will go easy on you. So don't fuck with me.
Thank you, Snoot. Make sure that we know if David doesn't keep his resolution, please. And we're coming to you from the beautiful Belmont Shore neighborhood of Long Beach, California, the tropical paradise St. Bart's, the Lone Star State, and NYC, a place where a big ball of lights in Times Square lets the whole world know that 2026 has arrived.
Be sure to join us next week when we dive into more lighting shenanigans and serve up a fresh, piping hot casserole of nonsense.
Light Talk, broadcasting questionable lumen knowledge and humor around the world.
So see you all again this Saturday morning. And once again, Happy New Year from Light Talk.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.